Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Boomer Talk podcast. My name is Jordan. You might know me as One Up Analytics. My co-host is Taylor, aka Somebody's Gun. Our guest this week is a pro Fortnite player, a content powerhouse for Raised by Kings, creator of creator of the Inside the Mind series, well-known IGL, Branris podcasts, everything. RBK Arab, welcome to Boomer Talk.
What's up? How you doing today?
Chilling. All right, so we got a lot to talk about today. Basically, if anybody's new to the podcast, we go through 3 Fortnite topics each week. After that, we get some questions from chat. So if you want to ask us some questions, stay tuned till the end. But let's get right into it, and let's talk about something that I think Arab's probably the perfect guest to talk about. Let's talk about the content and competitive Fortnite grind. Obviously, like we talk about all the time on this podcast, a lot of pro players, a lot of competitive players are throwing away an opportunity to kind of like build their personal brand while also competing in tournaments. Arab obviously is the opposite example of that. He does an incredible job of branding himself. Talk to us a little bit about that. Is there any sort of like burnout that goes on during the season? How do you balance the two? Anything else?
Yeah, content is definitely king. I stumbled upon competitive on accident, right? I started like making YouTube videos like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I was making like skits, interviews downtown. Like, even at some point, I was doing like little mini pranks. Um, like there was one prank where I would, when somebody's too far away and they hold the door open for you and you have to like run a little like to get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would hold the door for people that were moderately far away and like make them run to it, and then like I'd slam it right before they got to me. I'd be like, "You took so long," and like I'd walk off. It was like harmless and funny, like shit like that. And then over time, I saw my friends, a bunch of friends, literally in front of my eyes, go from 0 to a million, etc. And I never had my shot. Like I saw Ricky Berwick become famous in front of my eyes, like a bunch of other YouTubers, Leon Lush, etc. Like all literally go from 0 to millions, and I never had my chance. But like I knew I still had it in me. I never quit. I was still doing it while still in school. But also at the same time as making that content, I like games. So I was like, all right, if I'm gonna play games, I might as well start streaming. So I just started streaming, and then like I started taking it seriously when Fortnite came out, rather than just streaming like 60 hours a month. I started doing like 200-300 hours. I hadn't enjoyed a game more than Fortnite. Like I knew I was better than most people, but I didn't know what competitive was. I was better than all my casual friends. Like we'd play together and they'd die and I would 1v4. And then eventually like I had my friends pull up my stream, so I had 3 viewers and it was always them 3, right? Like whoever I was playing with, they'd have my stream open, etc. And then eventually I like stumbled upon competitive when like gauntlets came out, like those open ones when they first started testing in-game tournaments, around like right before the first Winter Royale.
Right.
And then I started scrimming during like T-faults, and I was like, whoa, this is like really fun. Like this is way more fun than like pubs. So I just started playing 15 hours of scrims a day, and that was content for me. So the scrims that I was playing, because I didn't have access to prac or anything at first, like before I was good enough, was Atlantis scrims is what it was at the time. And I would literally play 15 hours of zone rule Atlantis scrims. And that's how I like got the knowledge of the game that I have now. It was a perfect balance between content and comp, because you get to fight off spawn, then you get like a 10 to 15 minute break, and you can read chat while you fuck around and like farm up whatever, and then you get to play the end game. So you're still like, people think zone rule scrims aren't good for like learning competitive. They actually really are. If you're putting in so many hours into them, you can still make those mistakes, and you can practice them like scuffed if you want. You can practice them stacked. You can practice them however you want, because you get to get what loadout you want like into those. So So I stumbled upon competitive on accident. Granted, like I was good in other games that I touched. Like I was a top Modern Warfare player. I was one of the best RuneScape PKers, like people like you fight in the wilderness against other players. I was one of the best at that. And in League of Legends, I was master, and I played for my school. So like the gaming skill is always there, but more than anything, I enjoyed making people laugh. So like going into all of this, it was about entertaining people. And then competitive became the gateway to entertaining people. So I still love competing, and it's like that feeling of doing well is just insane. The adrenaline, like of a clutch pop off in endgame, is nuts. But I think you have to, especially with prize pools going down, like you have to be able to rely on something else. And there's a few players that are doing that really well. Like other than me, it's Colazo, you got Savid, a lot. I mean, obviously Booga, like he's up there, but like these players that are streaming every single thing and making YouTube videos consistently, I heavily like I fuck with that. People that have that grinder mentality of they understand the branding too. Because at the end of the day, when Fortnite dies or when you become washed, because you can become washed in one season, they could remove the pump and become washed. Like you saw, Unknown didn't place without the pump. I couldn't even fucking place without the pump either. Like all they have to do is remove one gun and you lose your career. But and if you have that content, you don't, because people still want to watch you. People want to see how you adapt. People want to talk to you. Like they want to be part of your community. So yeah, I don't know if I answered that fully correctly.
Yeah.
There might have been some stuff that I missed because I went on a tangent, but
No, totally. Even like, not just when you get washed. I mean, you said it yourself. When the game will eventually die. I mean, it may die in 2 years.
I don't think it will.
It may die
I
in
don't think it will.
15 years. But like eventually,
I get it, but I think this game, once their devs die off, then we'll and we get like devs that care about competitive too. I think it'll just skyrocket to competitive. Like it has so much potential. There's no game that is as fun as. There are so many micro movements that you have to make in Fortnite. It just beats every other game when it comes to like fun. Like there's a bajillion. Like I don't know what the biggest number is. A bajillion ways to play a single game out. It's not like CS where like you have these 10, 15, maybe even 50 strategies around a single map, right? Like you have to adapt every single zone, every single item you get. You have to adapt and make a different play based off that. And then in end game, you have to find a layer. You have to, if zone pulls far, if zone pulls close, you play it differently. If you have AR ammo, if you don't, what are your shotguns? What are your shockwaves? What's your movement? Like the game is just, it's too advanced. It's too advanced. It's not going to die. I like to say it is, but it's not going to.
I mean, like at some point though, prize pools are going to decrease to a point where just focusing on competitive may not be as sustainable as it is right now.
I don't think it's sustainable right now. It's sustainable for like 5 to 10
Sure,
people.
exactly. And like at some point, people are going to have to move on from just competing. Um,
Yeah,
and
I
so,
agree.
like, I mean, yeah, we talk about this all the time, but I look back at if you look back at like Call of Duty players who got big from trick shotting or got big from like competitive Call of Duty, the players who took the time to like create a personal brand, like vlogged and stuff like that outside of the game, are the ones who still have
Jump, homage.
exactly the guy. Those are the
Yeah,
guys who
Nate
still have
shot.
huge
Yeah,
followings, are able to move on to things outside of the game. Like some of them are literally just they just vlog now and create like real like IRL
rug.
content. Yeah, Rug's a great
Yeah,
example of that.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I just the game, the game will definitely not die. I think even as prize pools go down, people are still gonna play the game. I don't think competitors play the game for the prize pool. I think it's fun to bitch about the prize pool, but like me personally, I know not everyone's like this, but me personally, I've never once looked at a prize pool and been like, all right, now we gotta try like crazy. Like I'm putting my heart into competing. Like I wanna. It's about winning. I didn't care when we got second in duo FNCS. Like it wasn't about the money. whether it was 20K that we won, like if it was the previous trio season and the prize pools were that big, or whether it was the 2.5K that we won. Like, it wasn't about the money. It was, dude, we just did this. We showed them that we're better. So
Yeah, and I think the true competitors will stick around. There's obviously going to be people that dip out, and we've already seen people dip out when new games come out and all that stuff. But you kind of touched on it, and I'd like to go a little further. What do you feel during a season? Do you feel like there's burnout and the lack of scheduling? How does that affect you as a player and someone trying to navigate this space?
So the only thing that really burns me out is school. I'm still in school. I still have one semester, this final semester, hopefully, if I pass all my classes. Um, and the thing is, like, I was dating a girl for 2 years. Stream knew her, I would show her, and she was great. But she was kind of like my non-burnout. So like it was long distance, so I'd work a month straight, like super hard, 300 hours a month. Plus going to school full time. I was commuting an hour away, and then at the end of every month, I'd see her for 2-3 days, and I wouldn't stream. I would just like go to New York or whatever it was, and it was a nice break. It was like a refresh. Now that I'm not, the only thing that really like burns me out and stresses me is school. Really, like I don't really burn out from content. I just love it. It's my community. Like that's my people. So it, the content is the escape from everything. So it's not there's no real burnout there. Like I love seeing numbers. I love seeing the growth. Like I knew from the beginning that I had it in me. It's just that I didn't know it would happen this fast. So yeah, I think I'm a little bit different than most people. I haven't seen a burnout yet.
Have you ever felt with Fortnite specifically, like I just don't feel as interested in the game as I used to, and like whether it's because of a certain meta or whether it's just because you're thinking about it constantly all day every day.
Yeah.
And have you ever thought about potentially quitting, but you felt like you had to keep going because you've already built a huge platform, you've already built a huge audience?
I don't say because of that. I played Among Us yesterday. I had more viewers than I had playing Fortnite. So it's not about the numbers like going down or going up. It's about I feel like I still got it in me. I haven't peaked. There's something that I'm missing. Like I want to win an event. I say I'm gonna play till World Cup 2021 and then quit because I know that me quitting Fortnite is what I need to be like the biggest streamer. I need to take that leap and quit Fortnite, but I love Fortnite. So, but I have had times where, yeah, I don't. Well, the last solo FNCS charged shotguns came out and there were no pumps, and for me, Fortnite has always been about pumps for me. Without pumps, the game isn't fun. Like I start off the game by watching Daquan. I would like double pump and flick people. I was like, this is so cool what he's doing. Like this is hitting a flick is the coolest feeling. So like that's what I would do. That's why people started watching me when like when viewers would come and I'd kill somebody and I had TTV in my name and they'd come and they'd be like, holy fuck, that flick was insane or whatever it is. And then when they remove pumps, dude, I'm gonna be honest, I still don't know how to use the charge. Like I don't know how to shoot it. I can't hit a shot with it because you have to, it's just a different timing and like release mechanic. And so for solo FNCS, I didn't really play much. I didn't scrim much. I coached instead. I took that up. So I still kept content up. I was coaching. I was like still had my community and my YouTube know, look, I'm actually really smart at the game. Sometimes I just can't do the things that these mechanical players can do. So I started coaching people. I mean, look, I coached Fresh to a 6th place in FNCS Grand Finals. Like that's pretty big. And we definitely could have gotten like a second, not first because Jinx fucking blew it out of the park, but like we definitely could have gotten a second. And like that was able to show people, dude, if this guy can coach Fresh, who doesn't play a single scrim, and a 6th place, like I'm glad like that's what I focused on. So yeah, there is a burnout in seasons, and normally it's because of they could remove a gun or whatever it is, but I try to swap, like, I used to definitely play Fortnite much more. I think everybody used to play Fortnite much more.
Oh,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Like in chapter 1, the game was, it was just so fun to play 15 hours a day. I'd wake up at 2 p.m. and I'd play till like 5, 6 a.m. And I was just literally just scrims all day. But like now it's definitely not as fun anymore. They've done something to the game that the map, the colors aren't the same. They're not beautiful anymore. Like it's very dull. Uh, the guns are so ugly. I don't know why they changed them. I don't know if you guys have paid attention the past 2
Yeah.
days. And then like you get especially in scrims, like if the one good team, which you're not going to contest because it's Zayt and it's Bizzle, like they're fighting each other. They have the most OPPOI, right? You're not going to land there in elite scrims and fight both of them. You'll probably end up getting kicked too. They just get fucking Doom's Domain and they win each game. You know what I'm saying? Like if a good team has those mythic items, it's over.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a different, yeah, you definitely burn out in that sense where the game just isn't as fun and you don't invest time into it as much anymore.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably on the opposite side of the spectrum because I feel like at the end of each season, maybe not recently, but the past ones when they would get extended another week and then extended another 10 days and then another 10 days of a season. I I don't know. It seemed like players just had this burnout where no one would be playing the game at the end of the season. At least most people would decide to kind of just give it some time, relax, and maybe that has something to do with the lack of tournaments or you just get bored with the game after a while. At the end of the day, it's only a video game. You're not going to continue to play something if you don't really enjoy it. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's very interesting to hear your perspective.
Well, when it
I
comes to the end of the season, I normally will take a break and use that end of the season to, first of all, a break from Fortnite's good. Sometimes it's like sports. I mean, they're not playing football 10 hours a day every day. You know what I'm saying? Like football
Oh,
players are not
100%.
playing 10 hours a day every day. First of all, they're probably like practicing for 3 hours and working out. They're not playing 10 hours. Like this is mentally torturing. At the end of the season, when there's no tournaments, a lot of time there's no point in obviously scrim knowledge is still scrim knowledge, but the meta completely changes everything. Whether there's shockwaves, whether there's shadow bombs, whether there's a mythic like the grappler or a doom's bomb. Like I see it as take time off for those 10 to 15 days and expand into another game. Right? Like people are kind of sick of Fortnite. Nobody wants to watch you play Zone Wars wagers all day.
Hmm.
Like we want to watch other shit for those 15 days until competitive starts, and then the new season starts, and that's when you have to grind. Like when the new season starts, I, without exception, for the past 3 seasons, have been the first one to get scrim highlights out. I have them within the first day because everyone's playing arena, and my community's here playing scrims, and then there's some pros that want to play, but they're not making content. I get them out within the first day. So it's like you have to be the quickest. I think that's a big reason for my growth too, is being the quickest. I normally am the first person to have a highlight out of a tournament or of whatever it is. It's within like 8 hours, the video's up. So
Yeah. I wonder, the reason I asked about burnout is because I wonder like how many competitive players, not just pro players, but players who are just playing competitive tournaments in general, uh, are kind of dragging themselves along at this point because they feel like they've already sunk so many hours into the game and improving and like improving their mechanics, and now feel like it's like that sunk cost fallacy where you've already put so much time into it, so to quit it, it feels like you're giving up a lot of time in the past.
yeah, there's got to be a lot. There's got to be a lot, and I think if they had that content with them, they wouldn't be feeling that way.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, all right, I'm making content. It's not like I'm working towards something. That's how it started out for me. I was like, I'm playing so many hours of games. Why am I not streaming it? And then it became like, so at first I would stream so that I could justify gaming. I'd be like, all right, so I'm not wasting my time. Let me stream. But now I stream. I game just so I have something to stream. You know what I'm saying? So I like flip. Like now I enjoy streaming more than gaming.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
while we're on the topic of putting hours into the game, let's go on to topic number 2, which is where does Fortnite rank amongst esports for becoming a pro in terms of like the difficulty of becoming a pro, in terms of how much time you have to put in, how good you actually have to be at the game, stuff like that.
I'd say much easier. I think it's easier to become a pro. I'd say it's probably just as hard to be like the top 10. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like to be those prodigies, it's probably just as hard as other games. Um,
Do you think that
maybe even yeah, go ahead.
do you think that's because like are you saying that it's easier because of like the open tournament model?
Yeah, yeah, because anyone can make a name for themselves by having a pop off. And you can improve based off those open tournament models. It's not like you're having to grind a ranked ladder that's like not money based. You can improve by just saying, all right, I got more points this tournament than I got last, so I'm improving. So if you're working on improving each tournament, so that's what I've been doing for my solo cups, right? Because I've never made money in a solo cash cup. But my past 4 solo cups, I went from 60 points to 70 to 75 to 85. And the reason is I was working on not trying to win the cup, trying to improve that next step. What am I doing wrong? Let me fix that for next week. Let me fix that. Let me just get more points than this week. And then boom, like now I've tapped into almost being right there. So I think any player can make a name for themselves. You see like you don't see like in CS some random aimer starts placing just because he started playing like CS and now he's like a god. But in Fortnite, you can see like these random creative warriors that join up and start playing tournaments now after they've mastered mechanics, and then boom, they're starting to place after a month or two of playing comp. So it's much easier too because prize pools being like top 100 get paid out sometimes. Obviously, that's getting lower and lower, but I don't know. What would you consider pro? Is it making money?
Nah, I mean, for me, it would be making enough to sustain yourself, like a professional player. That's your job. So sustain yourself. For some kids, obviously, they don't have bills or anything like that. But I don't know. I'd put 15 a year in earnings minimum, maybe 20. Um, is probably where I would put it at. There's probably a lot of kids that have earned money in this game that I would consider more semi-pro than anything else. And it
Right.
doesn't necessarily just have to come from like Fortnite tournaments, right? You could be a professional Fortnite player and have more than just competitive like yourself. Um,
I think there's a lot of semi pros in this game. Semi
yeah,
pros, like everyone who plays considers themselves a semi pro. If you play a scrim, like every person in their bio has Fortnite competitive pro or whatever, and it's like somebody you've never heard of in your life because they have $200 in earnings off of a
for,
wager, probably too. Not even like they just put it in their earnings.
for me, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum though, as far as like making it as a pro within this game. I think it's easy to get recognition. I don't think it's as easy to be a pro. And I guess if we throw in the whole becoming signed, it becomes even more
Oh, if
difficult
you're talking about
because
becoming signed, it's definitely difficult.
yeah,
If
if
that's
we
what you're
think about
gauging it
it
off of, which I
from
guess
that
makes sense.
perspective,
Yeah, go ahead.
like what other esport do you have where you have to have a social media presence, where you have to put out content? And at first, it wasn't like that in Fortnite, right? We had people just competing, they were winning tournaments. It worked out well at first. But now, I mean, a team or an org is not signing a player if they're not going to be able to get something back from it. And really, what they're getting back is that content, that exposure, and everything that comes with it. Because it seems like there's been a precedent in Fortnite where no org is taking any kind of tournament winnings, so they have to find a way to make money elsewhere.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're gauging it that way, it's definitely much harder. It is easy to get recognition though. Um, you can plant yourself in the right circles as long as you're like scrimming. Like I got a lot of people in my community that, dude, I have 13-month subs that are starting to like place top 10 in events. Like they're just out of nowhere, they're starting to pop off now. They figured out there's a lot of people that it's just got to click. There's a switch. There's something missing. They're like right there. They're about to tap into the top level, but there's just something. It's something small missing that you can never really like tap into. A lot of them tap into it. Like I got one of my literally my 13-month sub. I have like an 11-month sub who now just got signed. Um, and it's cool. It's cool to see like these people that are just part of my community that were nobodies, and now they're starting to like qualify for everything. They're starting to place, and it's dope. So you can definitely get recognition easily, I think. But also you can be gate kept very easily, right? You got
Yeah.
top friend groups that build like cults, and they like blacklist you, and their friends start hating you for no reason, etc. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like as a new name, especially, it's harder in events when you have these friend groups splitting POIs around each other, right? They own a whole part of the map, and you're this random dude that's now dropping there. They know each other's skins. They're probably in the same fucking Discord call while they're playing. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, no, I mean
When duos are splitting full POIs, like
we've seen Epic take some, not a
no, it's
lot,
look, I get
but
it. It's good for the game. Like you have to, you're not supposed to, you don't want to fight off spawn.
yeah.
But it's like, how are these people, like these conglomerates of friend groups with millions of followers combined, hating on this random dude who finally qualified for his first event, that is just trying to place, is landing at his drop spot, and all of a sudden you have all these people that he probably looks up to bullying him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he decided to land here. Like, how is that gonna affect him? All these people I looked up to are now literally teaming and then calling me a piece of shit because I'm landing at the same spot.
Yeah, especially
So
recently with like the soft aiming thing, everybody who is beginning to place now gets,
mm-hmm.
called a soft aimer or some sort of hacker.
But you know why they're beginning to place?
Why?
Inside the mind.
True.
I'm
Uh,
serious. Like
No, I don't doubt it.
a lot of these new players are watching Inside the Mind, and they're finally tapping in, and a lot of these people are calling them soft aimers. Like, they had good aim, they just didn't have the knowledge. Oh,
yeah, fair enough. And then just one thing that you touched on was the whole gatekeeping in the community, which I think is a lot bigger of an issue than most people think it is, because there's the top, 0.1% that's practicing at the highest level every day. And then there's everyone else that has to scramble to find some sort of practice. And that's, in my opinion, like I believe the gap between the top pros and,
but
the semi pros is going to continue to grow.
that's not the gatekeeping that I'm talking about.
I know.
I think that's good gatekeeping because, like, as much as Zay gives me shit sometimes, like, Zay is really good at that. Like, he is really good at making sure that there's the best practice. And you can't just get random people and put them in. You can't get people in prac and put them in elite and assume the games are going to be good, because as soon as you start mixing them, the games are going to turn to shit like they are in prac or whatever it is, right? In elite, you're practicing for grand finals. Sometimes you're practicing for heats, whatever it is, like, but those players are all practicing for the same thing because they've already figured out how to play opens and semis and finals. They're practicing for grands at that point. So when you get these random players and put them in elite, they don't know they're not supposed to W key people. They don't know how to rotate. Like, they're gonna get lobby focused. They don't know how to. They're gonna die to surge. Like, you can't just get random. You have to build your way up, bro. Like, I built my way up from Atlantis, and then I playing purely Atlantis scrims. We placed like 26th and like top 50 in Duo World Cup, and then after DMing Infamous for 7 weeks, I finally got into prac, right? And then qualified for trios 5 weeks, qualified for squads 4 weeks, and placed in grands, and then finally got into elite. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you have to earn it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you should be handed prac, but as far as, talking the general topic of how hard is it to become a pro when you don't have access to the best practice in the game, like, you shouldn't be able to just hop into it. But at the same time, the top pros are going to continue to place better than everyone else because they have access to that better practice, and they're consistently
Of course, but
having grand finals.
the no name that you can grind your way up from opens to challengers to gold to prac. Like there's a system that they've built in that East Open. There's a rank ladder that you can play and build your way up. Like if Epic isn't going to give us rank, they built that ranked ladder, and those kids can grind their ass off. Like I didn't get there by playing 6 hours a day. I got there by playing 15. You cannot be the best if you're not playing 15 hours a day. Like those top players are. I'm not playing 15 hours a day. I'm like I'm not putting in all the effort I can to be the best. You know what I'm saying? And I recognize that. You cannot be the best. If you are at the bottom, you have to work harder than the guy at the top to get to the top. Because the guy at the top already has a fucking 10, 15 mile lead. How are you gonna catch up? You gotta work you gotta work while everyone's asleep.
Yeah, I wonder
If scrims are done, you better be grinding creative. You better be grinding tunnels. You better be VOD reviewing the top player. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Do you think it's harder to stay a pro in Fortnite just because of how mechanically intensive the game is? Like, obviously, other esports have their own ways of being mechanically intensive, but Fortnite is so, and especially since it's a fairly new game when you compare it to other esports, and there's still new techniques, like new metas, like coming, coming into the game. Do you think it's more difficult because you just have to continuously stay on top of it and continuously improve mechanically?
Yeah, I think it is, but I also think it is because of, I mean, it's a Rubik's Cube. You're solving a new Rubik's Cube every game. It's not the same shit like you do in scrims and CS:GO or whatever. Like those games are hard because they need to have that exact precise aim, right? But I mean that's what it is at the end of the day. It's aim and strategy. In Fortnite, it's every minute and a half. Not even. If somebody shoots at you, you have to think of a new strategy.
Yeah.
Right. If somebody's on this hill, you have to have a new rotate. If somebody just rebooted in this spot, you have to have a new rotate. If somebody, like, there's so many different things, and it definitely is harder to stay on top because those kids I mean, in other games, if you're on top, it's because you're signed too, right? Like you're signed and you're competing against those players. Nobody can just budge in. Like you got to be scouted and then picked up and then replace somebody that now gets benched. Like it's not just, you're not just swapping one of the 5 people every few months. It's new names can now pop up at the top. New names could land at your drop spot. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of RNG too. You could get fucking Stark uncontested 4 games in a row, and then 10 people steamy. Like it just depends. It's a lot of it's RNG too, especially with no 100% chest spawn. It changes the game. You could, I mean, I've looted a whole building before that has 8 chests in it and it gotten 0. You know, and then sometimes I loot it and there's 8. So, like, what do you do if the guy next to you gets a gold spaz out of his chest?
Peace.
You're dead.
Yeah. Go back to the lobby and enjoy the next one.
Yeah. But what if it's in a grand finals? Unfortunate.
Yeah, it's the game we choose to enjoy, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a good segue, unless you have anything else you want to talk about.
No, yeah, that is a good segue actually. Yeah, let's talk about the state of the game. Let's talk about solo and trio metas. By the way, anybody who's in chat, if you want to ask questions, stick around till the end of this topic. But so this is the final topic. How does the meta this season compare to last season in terms of mythics, the weapon pool in general?
What were the mythics last season?
Caddy
was the main
one.
Oh,
fuck that shit. Nothing compares to Caddy. Caddy was by far the most broken. Not only do you have the shockwave, but you have a shotgun that does twice as much damage as everybody else's shotgun, but has 2 more bullets. Like what? What kind of, like who thought of that as a good idea? Yeah, nothing. I don't think any mythic will ever compare to Caddy. I think right now in trios, in opens and semis, Dooms is not going to be a problem, but in finals, if somebody gets it uncontested, it's going to be a big problem. That's like almost a spaz for everybody, a gold scar, as well as you don't take fall damage. Like if you've seen Mega, Dubs, and Bizzle play that, Mega is literally 10 levels above them in wood, and they're on high ground, and he's just shooting the fucking the beam from high ground.
yeah.
Just doing nothing. It's mindless. You just build wood and you just shoot that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
there's no thought that goes into it because you get shot out. you just click space, and like, boom, now you're flying. So I think at the top competitive level, Dooms is gonna be absolutely dominant. I think Starks will be dominant on low ground just because you're ensuring that God loot in a if there was 100% chest spawn, I don't think Starks would be that OP. But because they're ensuring that you get 3 spazzes and like gold augs and gold Stark rifles and then max shield if you win that POI. And I'm sure people are gonna have it uncontested. Like I'm sure in a finals, Booga, Jamper, and Avery might get that uncontested just because it's Booga, Jamper, and Avery, and nobody wants to start a fight with them because Booga is one of the most clouded in the scene, right? But like that POI is worth fighting for. Instead,
Yeah.
people are gonna go fight for fucking 3 houses on the top left of the map that probably don't even spawn chests anymore. Like, so I mean, it comes down to that. The Mythics are definitely OP, and I think Dooms is gonna dominate at a top competitive level, but I don't think it'll matter in opens and semis. It'll just matter once it gets to those the weekly finals as well as heats and grands. So, I think Mythics fucked up the game. I think the game was best in Chapter 2, Season 1, which was squads.
I'm definitely a
Because,
proponent of that
yeah,
too.
the
But
game was so simple. It was shotguns, ARs, and snipers.
yep, and you
There
actually
was,
had to
like, no
rotate.
movement. You had to rotate. It was brain. Like, now it's like, all right, you got 6 shockwaves. GG's, bro. You win this solo game,
Yeah.
you know? So,
But yeah,
you can't lose. With 6 shockwaves, you make it into every moving. Maybe even if you have 3 bouncers with that too, like, if you lose, you're just bad.
all right, I'm
So.
pretty bad at the game then. No, but I definitely think the meta's more. It's less geared towards the mythics, but the mythic spots are still as OP for the reasons you touched on. Because 50% chest spawns, you're not guaranteed good loot or even shield, but you can get that consistently at either vault. If you win either of those, and like the Stark rifle's a whole nother story because that thing's absolutely ridiculous as well.
I think it's
But
bugged.
it's
I think
bugged.
that I think the crosshair isn't correct. Because when I hold an AUG, I can hit every single shot like 80% of the time. When I hold a Stark rifle at far range, I don't think it hits. Like it's like my friend who has like literal god aim, he's a Storm Surge machine. He can't hit a shot from 150 meters plus with that gun because it's like the crosshair is just a little bit off.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense, but nonetheless, it still puts out 50 damage
For sure, for
to
sure.
the body, right? And
Yeah.
if you're getting Starks with those pumps, with the Stark rifles, then you also have heals. Like each of those is just another reason
Well,
that
and
you're
you have
doing better
rifts
than
there.
everyone else.
You have a trail of rifts that can take you anywhere across the map.
You're already in the best position in the game. Zone's gonna
Yeah.
move there. You have vehicles that are faster than any other in the game. Plus, you'll have mobility.
Like what a POI, bro. Like what?
Why are you not landing there?
I was. And then Chap started landing there. And I just don't want to do a 2.0. I don't want to start that again. Like people said I was a clout farmer. I was just entertaining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna call me a clout farmer now, is he? Like fucking I've
I mean,
one of the
that's
highest
some of the
views in the
most
Fortnite scene.
that's some of the most entertaining pieces of finals or like
For
even just
sure. Easily.
Fortnite that we had. So I do thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't wanna I'm clouded enough now where I can claim a POI normally uncontested in a finals, right? So I don't need to contest that loot. If I can get a POI uncontested, then I'll claim that. But if I can't, then I'll go fight at Starks. Like if I have to fight somewhere, it's gonna be at Starks. But if I don't have to, then let me claim a POI that's uncontested. Because you don't
Right.
need God loot to make endgame. So
What are you thinking? What you got stirring in that head over there?
No, I'm just thinking like, are you a fan of the Stark like spaceships
what are the Stark spaceships?
or like
The jets?
yeah, the jets, whatever you call it.
Those are in pubs only.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
You sure? Or was that this most recent update? Because they've definitely been in arena recently. unless they took it out this most recent update.
I played Arena yesterday. They're in comp as well. What is that? What are the Stark Jets?
You know the blue smoke that comes up, and you have the bots walking around
Oh,
with the Stark
those.
rifles.
Oh, I thought you meant the fucking the black and red motherfucker that like goes around the map and shoots you, and you have to pick it up and then laser them. I get what you're saying. Okay, I didn't know what you're talking. There's like a thing in pubs. I played pubs for the first time yesterday, and chat was telling me about like this robot that follows you around the map and starts shooting you, and you have to blow it up.
That
It's a
sounds
pub thing.
ridiculous.
It's a pub. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyways, yeah, the Stark Jets, they're pretty cool. Yeah, they're needed for loot on the map.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying because I think that would be a good direction for Mythics to go in general. Because in my opinion, if you're going to use that as like your drop spot for
Ooh, like around the map, you're saying?
yeah, you're
But not at the same spot.
yeah, because like
I'd say.
you're getting solid loot, you're getting shield, you're getting the Stark Rifle, you're getting what you need. You have a chance to get a Mythic, but you're being thrown around the map, so you don't know like where you might have to rotate. You have to kind of plan for different areas depending on where they wind up landing at the beginning of the game.
I fuck with that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if you're gonna release Mythics, at least release all of them. Why the fuck is Doom's in the game but Wolverine isn't and Iron Man isn't? Like,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
why?
I don't know if more Mythics
Why is there
the answer to
only
it.
one? I think it is. I think more is the answer because more makes it where it's not one powerhouse in the game. Right now, it's only one powerhouse in the game, and that's Doom's. More, you have Wolverine's claws on low ground. You have fucking, what's it called? Stark. You have Stark and I'm sure they could weaken the beam and shit. You know what I'm saying? But like
Yeah.
more makes it where, like when there was grapple in the game, when there was, what other ones did we have? There was the authority grapple. There was the shark grapple. There was like when those were in the game, it was a different game. It was like multiple people have mythics, like the mythic Og, the mythic whatever, and there was a balance there. There's multiple overpowered teams, so those overpowered teams can now like create a war with each other, and it's not just one team dominating. Like I played the tournament the other day, the Atlantis Prestige tournament. Bizzle, Mega, and Dubs had Doom's Domain, and they won like 3 of the 6 games. They died off spawn twice. The 4 games they made it off spawn, they won 3 of them, and they got a 2nd place. It's like when you have a good team with that mythic, it's just nobody can counter it. You cannot triple spray Mega and Dubs back. They're gonna shit on you because they have a fucking mythic bomb that burns your builds, and then they're just better. So it's like it's not that they're just better. It's not like you're taking the triple spray Bloom Battle back. They have a bomb that's going to do 100 damage to you and blow your builds up. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at least it's not catty. It
Yeah.
may be. I guess we really didn't have any major trio tournaments last season to gauge off of.
Right.
But for solos, I think this season is a hell of a lot better than it was last season, because as a solo, like the most OP, in my opinion, the most OP weapon for solos is Silver Surfer. It's essentially a free rotate during every moving zone, and there's multiple of those on the map. But at the end of the day, it's really kind of just like a shockwave, and you can get beamed out of the air anyway. It's not like Caddy, where you could use it as
Nothing
an
is like
offensive
Caddy. Nothing is like Caddy. No gun in the game will ever be as good as Caddy.
Yeah.
No, it will not be.
It ruined tournaments from like a viewer perspective, and someone that like broadcasts games to have to talk about Caddy every single game as to, oh, it's Caddy on height. They're going to shoot people and then win the game. Great job.
You were always playing for second with Caddy in the game.
But if only we had no mythics. That's not happening though. I don't think mythics are ever going away.
I don't think so either.
I don't really mind mythics when they're like consumable. Like I thought the endless chug jug was a really good idea.
That was a good idea for sure. Like maybe endless minis. That would be cool. You're fighting for endless minis, but not a like even a mythic gun. The mythic Og, okay, whatever. That's a strong gun, but you're not beaming the fuck out of kids and burning all their builds and like. It's okay. Mythic shotguns, mythic whatever, like that's cool, but mythic blow everybody's builds up, bomb and fly in the sky and don't take fall damage with unlimited ammo and pressure. Like, yeah, mythics are just Epic's way of making billions of dollars.
That's probably pretty true.
It's an advertisement,
Yeah.
literally. I mean, what are we playing right now? We're playing Avengers. It's not Fortnite.
Yeah.
Playing one big ad.
You land on Iron Man and he beams you for 100 HP and you die off spawn because Iron Man decided to fucking, like.
Yeah.
No, yeah. It definitely feels like, even though Mythic started 2 seasons ago, they definitely had in the back of their mind, like, we're going to be able to use this to get a deal with Marvel or DC or whatever and turn them into.
No, they already had that.
You think
for
they already
sure.
had it set up completely?
It was definitely set up for
I
sure.
mean, that makes sense.
That's a deal that takes time.
Yeah. At least Mythics they've slowly been brought down, right? Like every season, I feel like they've been slightly, really? Like,
oh, they've gotten worse, bro. What are you talking about? It went from just the grappler. It went from yeah, but the sword doesn't count. That was like their first intro, and it started with the grappler and went to Caddy, and now it's Dooms. Nah, shit's busted.
I mean, I would agree that it's broken as is. If it could just be like movement items and healing, like Jordan said,
that would be cool.
That would be good for the game, and I think healthy, where you land in this spot, okay, I get this. This is my one piece, and maybe every POI has like this one piece that you get. In its current state, I hope we're not gonna see Dooms on height winning every game again.
Right.
I pray that it's not gonna be like that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think the other thing, but we'll move on to like chat questions in a second. But yeah, for me the biggest thing with Mythics is I like the idea of high risk, high reward. I think it works in opens and semis rounds, but the problems in the finals rounds when
there's no risk.
The best player just calls out that POI, he gets it uncontested, and like I don't know, that just defeats the entire purpose.
And what happens if you're a pro that lands there and you qualified too? Well, you can't land there because you're gonna get blacklisted from every server. Yeah. So because Daddy owns it. So.
Oh boy.
All right. Anybody in chat got questions? We'll take some.
Let's see what we got.
How do I drop 20 bombs in tourneys like pros when I have the passive scrim playstyle where I'm hesitant to W key and just play for the win?
You don't. You're gonna die. You're not them. That's my answer.
How do we get consistent surge in trios? AR tags? I mean,
AR tags.
Fight off spawn is your two options.
You fight off spawn or you get AR tags, and you gotta look for surge 4 minutes before it starts. You can't just look for surge a minute before. Triple spraying is pretty good, but...
Well, especially in stacked lobbies, once surge hits and you're the one dealing with it, everyone knows. Once it hits, it's too late. So do your work early.
Oh, also, just back to that question about having a passive playstyle and dropping 20 bombs. You don't necessarily need to drop 20 bombs. Like I
don't think you do.
There are players who are very successful. Like I just did, analysis of Arkram. He has a really good endgame playstyle. He does not drop 20 bombs at the beginning of games, in opens and semis, and he still does really, really well and is very consistent. Did you see a question?
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about Middle East comp? I mean, that's kind
of... They're funny as fuck. I started doing some Middle East comp watch parties. That's a good community. They're fun to watch. Their play style is something else, bro. Like even in grand finals, I'm watching these dudes get storm pushed all the way in like Africa. Like Zone is at Salty Springs, like top left of the map, and these kids are getting pushed all the way down at Camp Cod. and they're just fighting, and it's like one of them wins, but now he's dead to storm because it's 4 minutes away. I was like, what am I watching, bro? And I like not even on the mountain, like they're at the bottom of the mountain. So like you're gonna have to go up this mountain and then run in. Like, no, you're dead. Yeah, the Middle East comp is hilarious.
Can't say I've really ever watched. Maybe once or twice.
Bro, it's a show. It's a show. I think Middle East is probably one of the most fun regions to watch.
All right. Another question for you. What is your proudest moment?
I remember my dad first said he's proud of me, like through all this stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Other than that, probably like my first 100K, which was on Twitch.
Nice.
That was during quarantine. Yeah, I was in the car the next day and I like started tearing up. I was like, we did it. Like we're here. We hit 100,000. Yeah.
Another one coming soon.
Yeah.
All right. How do you guys feel about the 4 rounds of FNCS?
What does that mean? Like open semis and then 2 finals?
I believe so.
Fuck yeah, it's dope. I think 2 days of finals is sick. I think it's gonna cause like a shift in the leaderboard on the second day because people are gonna switch their strategies. People will VOD review somebody that landed, like, let's say, you're gonna start seeing those POIs more contested, I think. So like by the second day, people will start contesting Doom's domain. People will start contesting Stark, whatever it is, because they're realizing that, out of all these 6 games, they got 0 points.
Yeah, I'm a
go ahead.
fan. I definitely, I think from like a broadcast perspective too, it provides so much more storylines and interest in Fortnite, which you don't necessarily get from like 16 hours of Fortnite and jammed into 2 days, and most of it's just open play, and you get like 2 or 3 hours of actual finals.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think it'll be good for growth.
It'll be good for watching. Very good. Kinch has a good question. Kinch, first of all, your numbers are nuts, bro. Like you kill it. Who have you enjoyed coaching the most and why? Fresh and Savid are my 2 favorite to coach. Fresh listens without questioning anything. He just kills people. Fresh is so good because he doesn't care. Like he plays pubs and his aim is insane, but he just doesn't care. Like he's in there to have fun. So he just listens to everything you say and then gets into endgame and just kills people because he's just better. And he's not shivering. He doesn't care. So, and then Savid is probably the most mechanical player I've seen in my life. Like he's so underrated. His piece control is absolutely insane. I don't think I've seen him fuck up an edit once. He's never like edited a door on accident or anything. He's always, no matter what angle he's at, he can rotate his ramp. He can, whatever it is. And yeah, I think Savid is probably the most fun to coach because he's just insane. And like, so after the first week of me coaching Savid, so like this last week I was coaching Savid, and I'd be like, all right, now you gotta go, and then he'd like mark where I was thinking in my head because he learned. Like after the first time I coached him, he learned how to rotate to dead side. So like when I'm coaching him, I'm really at the end of the day just making sure he doesn't do dumb shit anymore because now he understands how to rotate. So Savid is definitely it.
Cool. What else do we got?
That most recent question. You think going from top 1K to top 33 is going to be a problem? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of RNG there. A lot of RNG. In your first lobby, you could end up in a lobby with 20 teams of pros. And one of those pro teams could end up in a lobby with a bunch of bots and they could drop a 30 kill first game win. Like,
yeah, I saw something that FNCS might not have a kill cap on it too, which kind of scares me for the open and semi rounds.
I don't think that's scary. I think that's good. I don't think FNCS should have a kill cap.
Really? I don't know.
FNCS should never have a kill cap.
From
if you can drop a 30 kill win in FNCS, you deserve it. No, it's not, because it doesn't detract from the actual point. Because in FNCS, people are playing much more serious than they are in a cash cup because of because of the title, FNCS. Right? When you say Cash Cup, you can make it the most placement-based Cash Cup. Whether it's like a victory royale is 50 points and a win is, or a kill is 0. And people will still play it like it's a fucking Cash Cup.
Yeah.
But then you give a fucking FNCS and you put like 20 points for a win and each kill is 2 points. You know, like people are gonna play it for the win. So I think it's the title.
Yeah, even when there were caps on elims and cash cups, people were still going over the cap. Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the most recent Catch Cup though?
Yeah,
Because
why
those
was
were
it was so
stacked
stacked,
games from
so
like
stacked.
game 1 to the last one. If anything, it felt like it got less stacked as the tournament went on, which was kind of strange.
This last Cash Cup was something else. I don't know why it was so stacked.
All right,
Maybe people are like warming up for FNCS.
Probably. It's like the first real trio tournament of the season, so people are real hyped for it. You guys want to do 1 or 2 more and call it a wrap?
yeah.
I'm game.
All right. I guess this will work. Do you think FNCS warm-up will give a realistic view on what it's going to take to qual for different levels? Without a doubt.
Yeah.
What's the best way to learn to have a confident mentality 24/7?
Oh. I've said this in an Inside the Mind before. The best players know when to be a bitch and when not to be a bitch. Sometimes you got to be a bitch and sometimes you don't. I'd say zero ping helps a lot with confidence, right? A lot of those players that you'll see that are fully confident because they know they're going to hold their wall and they know they're going to take somebody's wall. It's a completely different play style. But confidence just comes out of like let's say you get pushed and you know you can't run away from this push. Like it's just a team that is hard chasing you. Okay, it's either you're not confident and you lose the fight already from the start, or you say, fuck it, we're doing this, and you go into it full force. Like you each have to be confident. In solos, I got to work on like my confidence sometimes walking up to walls, etc. But like in trios and duos and whatever it is, I'm fully confident in those modes to fight if we have to. You just gotta be, bro. You gotta be. It's life or death. It's fight or flight. So.
Yeah, another big piece is preparation, whether it be in Fortnite or anything else. Like the more time you put in to prepare for stuff, the more confident you have in your own abilities, regardless of like what's going on. That'll help you even outside of the game, but when you're in tournaments, right? If you're playing 4 hours a week and you're trying to play a solo Cash Cup and, oh, I'm going to get top 5, that's not fucking going to happen, right? If you're not putting in the time and preparing and working on yourself, you're not going to be confident. So
well, also
it's another
like,
piece of it.
Yeah, you got to make those mistakes in scrims so that you can be confident in tournaments, like to not make them. As well as a lot of people know how to play the game. They're just not confident. But like they understand, like I have friends that are good at IGLing, they understand the game, but they're pussies. Like they will not make that play that will win you the game. They'll not go for height when they can. They'll always like they'll knock somebody, and you know, if it's a good push, I'm not saying every time you knock somebody it's a good push, but they'll knock somebody that they can easily wipe because they're in an isolated area or whatever it is, and they won't, and they'll stay scuffed with 300 mats and whatever it is. Like you got to make plays that'll win you the game.
All right, cool. You guys want to call it a wrap?
It's good for me.
I'm
I know
game.
Arab has to
I'm game.
Get back to scrimming. All right. So thank you everybody for tuning in to Boomer Talk. It was a great episode. Arab, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to plug anything? We have your Twitter below your camera on screen at YourFellowArab. Anything else you want to plug?
Hey, if you guys want to learn how to play competitive, I got a series called Inside the Mind where I teach you. So probably the best informational series you can get on competitive Fortnite.
Yeah, he's almost at 100,000 YouTube subscribers. So if you're not subscribed to him,
dude, I'm freaking out, man. I'm freaking out. We're at 96.9. It's all up to Hazy. Hazy's editing my 100K video right now. Let's go, buddy. Get to work.
Yeah, go sub to him. Go watch his videos, share his videos. Thank you again so much, Arab, and appreciate everybody for tuning in. Drop a follow. Come back next week, and yeah, see you guys later.
Yeah,
See
peace,
ya.
guys.